I'm very well. Kia ora, good morning to you as well. Thank you.
These are unusual times, and I suppose when we've got a bit more time to think about things, and there's some disturbing news on the telly and coming through our news feeds at the moment, for some people this can trigger some dark feelings and even some sense of loss. This is a pretty normal reaction to unusual circumstances in some ways.
It absolutely is. Seeing other people's loss often triggers our own. And, just having a holiday time, Easter, we were all inside, not doing the usual family things, maybe not visiting family members, and that brings up loss. Even the significance of Good Friday and things like that, it brings up loss. And, of course, all of the people who are so unwell and the death that we're seeing, it's a tough time.
It certainly is a tough time. Something which we were talking about on the program yesterday, in fact, is 3 weeks into lockdown, what do you miss the most? And sometimes I suppose we can put things too much in perspective. We can go, oh, gosh, everybody's suffering so much. I'm just missing hugging my grandkids. That's nothing in comparison to others. But actually recognising for us that is a loss, that is grief.
It's massive. It's massive. My parents are both in a rest home, and I haven't seen them since before I went to the United States. So that's for end of February. And I really felt it at Easter. And a lot of other people who I know have got elderly parents they can't see. It's a very tough time. And it makes you appreciate everything so much more, doesn't it?
It's important, I think, also to see loss in a broader context. It's not just, okay, we've lost a loved one, as in that somebody has died. Loss and grief, these are things that are triggered in a whole bunch of ways, perhaps ways that we haven't recognised before.
Well, in a way, it's loss of life as we once knew it. Yeah. I mean, who would have thought 3 months ago that this is what we would have been facing now, the entire world? And, you stop and think, well, gosh, things aren't going to really be the same for a very, very long time. Yeah. We can't just jump on a plane. We just can't do the things that we thought we could do. And, that's going to hit us, if not already, that things won't be the same for a while. And it's about adjusting. It'll be a new normal, won't it?
Yes, it will be. Although that in itself takes adjustments, that's in some ways, particularly for people who are stuck at home, who are perhaps concerned about loss of work, sometimes who we are, and the role that we see ourselves in, when that is questioned under these unusual circumstances, there's almost a loss of identity, do you think?
It absolutely is, especially if there's job loss, financial loss, your business is lost. This is where I'm going to stay and suggest it's a great time to rebuild your identity, to make your foundation stronger, to build that muscle of resilience, particularly that muscle of emotional resilience. Who am I? Those big questions. Who am I and where am I going?
Yeah, I mean, not making light of the situation that people are in, but actually this is a time to assess what really is foundational to our identity, what really does define who we are or who we want to be post-lockdown. A wonderful time to perhaps reassess that and change some of the way in which we look at stuff.
And also, start in the home, start in the family. Many people are going, gosh, I'm not going to be the leader I once was at work, or I'm going to lose my big job. Start in the home. Be the leader you want to be in your home, in your family unit. There are so many good things that can come out of this if we just look for the gem, right? Yeah,
exactly. In terms of loss and grief and even fear and anxiety, all sort of tied together. These are all connected and interlocked emotions, really, aren't they?
They sure are. And, the simple way for us to turn it around is to choose faith over the fear. Okay. Or if we're feeling the aloneness, if we're feeling anxiety ourselves, one way, a simple solution is to reach out to someone else. Who else might be feeling this right now? Who else can I just call on? Because we're all in this together, and it's about remembering that the fastest way to get out of ourselves is to reach out to someone else. And that will help not only alleviate our own pain and grief and loss and fear, it will enable us to change the world one person at a time.
You're looking at it from a positive perspective. Actually, it was quite amazed. So many comments came through yesterday on our Facebook post where we simply asked the question, what are you missing the most? And actually an outpouring of not loss and grief, but actually love. The thing that the people are missing the most is that interpersonal connection. Okay, yes, some people were missing recreational activities and takeaways as well, and hey, that's a real loss, don't get me wrong, but actually there's a lot of positive stuff. Loss is actually just the flip side of quite a positive emotion, really.
It is indeed. And there's that lovely quote that grief is really just love, but it's love that we aren't able to give at the moment, how we normally might be able to. So let's turn it around. Let's find other ways to meet that need of love and connection, because we all need love and connection, right? So let's just find other ways to do this. Instead of texting, we're so used to texting and technology, let's just pick up the phone and talk to one another like we used to once upon a time.
Or perhaps even write a letter. There we go.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, it's a great idea at this time.
There is something about the fact that we're all in this together, that whilst some people are facing perhaps more serious or more career-threatening situations than others, actually we're all in lockdown, and in our loss, in our grief, in our loneliness, an opportunity to perhaps connect with others who are in that same boat but in a separate bubble, right?
It is absolutely 100% the case, to reach out to one another. And it just starts at one person at a time, doesn't it? You know, you don't quite know how you will touch someone else's heart or life simply by reaching out and saying, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you really? It's, you know, how often we go to a party and everyone says, what do you do? What do you do? We all want to know what everyone else is doing. But now let's just sit and be and say, actually, how are you?
Yeah, and back to the point you were making beforehand about how our sense of identity is often tied up in what we do, but getting below that and just connecting with people because we're fellow human beings. A wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be doing that.
All the same.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tanya, we certainly appreciate the work that you are continuing to do even in lockdown situation. For you, potentially we might go from lockdown 4 to lockdown 3 next week. Anything in particular that stands out as something that you're missing, something you're looking forward to being able to redo post-lockdown?
I'm going to go and visit my parents before I do anything else or have contact with anyone else, because they're in rest homes. So I'll just go from here straight to there. And then from there, I'm going straight to the hairdressers.
Well, those sound like some fantastic goals for the weeks ahead, and good to have some things to look forward to.
And I'll be wearing a hat between now and then.
Well, Tanya, it's always a pleasure. Stay safe, kia kaha. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.